All right, with that, we'll call to order the meeting of the school board on November 13th, 6 o'clock p.m. And let's say the Pledge of Allegiance together.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, the mission statement, please.
The mission of Foley Public Schools is to bring together students, parents, staff, and community to provide a quality education with an emphasis on developing the full potential of the individual.
Thank you. Now it's open forum for any citizens that would like to address the board. I know no one's signed up, but you still have a chance. All right. Seeing no one wants to take the opportunity, we'll move on to the approval of agenda. We do have a tabletop item that we will need a motion to add to our agenda, please, which is a resolution to transfer funds from the general fund to the school readiness fund.
Excuse me, the tabletop is.
It's on the back side of the cover.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now, why is this tabletop?
Sure. Ms. Nasta, would you please tell what that is?
This is, as you know, our audit started this week, and it was brought to my attention that we have to, because school readiness, which is our preschool program, charges tuition for preschool classes. We have students that are on IEPs that come to preschool, and their spot is paid for with special ed funding. So to cover the cost of those preschool spots that would have normally been paid by tuition, the general fund usually makes a transfer with special ed funds that were generated from those students to cover that deficit. So we have to have board approval, a resolution saying that's what we're going to do.
Make a motion to transfer funds.
Oh, we gotta add it to our agenda. That's all we want to. You want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to add to the agenda.
All right.
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor of amending the agenda, please say now aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, we will move that.
One question, this is tabletop item, we also have this page, is that not included?
So that actually is in the actual agenda,
Okay.
which is, so we'll move this resolution to number, we'll move that to number 7 and push everything else down. And then what you're asking about, the other thing on there is actually old number 9, which would be number 10 now. And they're identical, so we got it in.
Thank you.
All right. I now need a motion to approve the agenda, please.
Motion to approve. Second.
All right, all in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion passes and our agenda is approved. Next is our approval of routine business items, which includes our consent agenda containing things like retirements, resignations, our approval of last meeting minutes, and board bills.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Anderson, Nathan Anderson, to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Runetsky. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Great. And now we will move to our new number 7, which is our tabletop item, the resolution to transfer funds from the general fund to school readiness fund. Do we need any other discussion on this item? All right. In that case, I would take a motion to approve this resolution, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Mr. Wilson has made the motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Anderson, Nathan Anderson, has seconded. All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
It's a resolution.
Resolutions don't need a roll call
We
vote.
don't.
Nope. But thank you. Yeah. that was one of the things we learned last year at our latest training. All right, now we'll move on to old number 8, which is new number 9, or excuse me, number 7, which was the old number 7, which is number 8, resolution for accepting gifts. We do have 2 gifts this month. The Rainey Memorial Area Alliance with $250 for books for 2nd graders, and Falcon Bank with $1,000 for our fall musical, which was wonderful, by the way. So I will definitely take a motion to accept the gifts.
Motion.
We'll let Sharon have this one. Ms. Kipka has made the motion to accept. Would you like the second?
I will second.
Mr. Wilson has seconded the motion to accept gifts. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Now, resolution for a governing board supporting application in Minnesota State High School League. Let's see, Mr. Inglis is not here today. Dr. Perry, would you please?
There's Form A and Form B, and the purpose of Form A is to recoup the costs of the students that we have participating in activities that receive reduced lunches. And the second, the following form is for grant opportunities. And so in the past, we've used the grants for first aid training for coaches, and then to cover the costs of our AEDs that are outside, in the outside facilities.
Okay. Are there any questions about this resolution and these 2 forms? Or any further discussion anyone is interested in?
I make a motion to approve Form A and Form B, we can together, or so we should be separate?
I think we can do it together.
All right. Nathan Anderson has made a motion to approve Form A and Form B. Do I hear second?
I'll second.
Ken Anderson has seconded. Any further discussion on the motion before us? In that case, I'll take a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much, everybody. Now, we are doing the canvass of the November 5th, 2024 election. This will be a roll call vote. And we also have that printed out in front of us today in case anyone is curious. But I can also read it for those in the audience. Be it resolved by the School Board of Independent School District number 51, Foley, as follows. Number 1, it is hereby found, determined, and declared that the general election of the voters of the district held on November 5th, 2024 was in all respects duly and legally called and held. Number 2, as specified in the attached abstract and return of votes cast, a total of 7,075 voters of the district voted at said election on the election of 4 school board members for 4-year term vacancies on the board caused by expiration of term on the first Monday in January, next following the general election, as follows. Candidate Sharon Kipka, 2,729 votes. Candidate Alyssa Schumacher, 2,504 votes. Candidate Pamela Visner, 2,269 votes. Candidate Patrick Lewandowski, 2,028 votes. Candidates Sharon Kipka, Alyssa Schumacher, Pamela Visner, and Patrick Lewandowski are elected to 4-year terms, beginning the first Monday in January, the 6th, 2025. The school district clerk is hereby authorized to certify the results of the election to the county auditor of each county in which the school district is located in whole or in part. And then there will be a place for signatures once we accept this canvassing. Are there any questions about this? Then I would take a motion to approve the resolution.
To approve.
Motion made by Ken Anderson to approve the resolution. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Nathan Anderson has seconded the resolution. This is a roll call vote. So go down the line. Sharon,
Yes.
Nathan,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Wayne,
Yes.
and Patrick is a yes as well. The motion passes. All right. Our next item is the e-learning plans. This is a discussion item. Who is driving that ship?
I'd like to invite the principals to present their e-learning plans to the board.
Excellent. Come on down.
All right.
I think, Mr. Bierman, if it would be okay if we could go in order, I think that's how we have them.
Sure.
Sorry.
All right.
You know what, look at this, we can probably just real quick, I could probably speak for all three of them, if
Okay.
that's okay. If that's right with you, I know Mr. Kluger really wants to come up here and visit.
Come on down. Come on down.
Really, the e-learning plans are, we're doing the same plan we've done the last 3 or 4 years. There hasn't been any edits to the plan. It's just laying out to everybody, what the process and procedure would be. If we have a snow day, the first snow day would be a no harmless day, so there wouldn't be any academic expectations of students or for families. But then on that second, third, if we have multiple days, having this plan in place, then helps us to not have to go to school more in June and make up days. So that's the gist of the e-learning plans. And I entertain any questions that people might have about the plan.
Just as a reminder to the board though that we are only allowed 5 e-learning days, so that's as many as we can have by statute. And looking back at last year, we want to share these plans with our families. And so we did that about this time in our November newsletter. So we'll do the same thing about just weather-related announcements, and we're going to keep our fingers crossed that we don't have to worry about these snow days this year.
Thank you very much.
How many days do we get? So it's 1 day?
1 day.
1 day, without, no.
1 day is we hold harmless,
Yeah.
and then we move into e-learning. And then if we exceed the 5, if we go into a regular snow day, it would be up to the board's discretion to determine whether we make up that snow day or not.
And I recall a couple of years ago when we had feet upon feet of snow, I think something happened where we just were able to have an in-service day that year or something so that students were not having to be brought in for an extra day.
I think the state came and said that we
Yeah.
had additional e-learning days.
Yeah, because of the volume of snow.
Yep.
So,
And cold, it was really cold that
Yep.
year in January.
so that's a nice thing. People are usually pretty flexible. We got a good head of steam ahead of us though.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. All right. Our next item is going to be the North Central Transportation Contract. This will be discussion and action. Floor is yours.
Thank you. As you're aware that we've been using North Central Transportation to cover 2 of our bus routes. And the contract is in front of you. We've also used them for quite a few of our activities. I think mainly this year, the majority of our activities are through North Central Transportation. This is a 4-year agreement. We've done everything that we can to find bus drivers. We just can't, and so this has been a really good partnership working with North Central. They are in Malacca, so it's a local company. We've met with the owner and very, very pleasant to work with, so we are very happy and pleased thus far with the partnership because they've been with us since the beginning of school. We did not have to go out for bids for this because it was under the threshold, and we were also in an emergency situation. School was starting, and we needed someone to be able to bring our kids into school. The buses that we're using, they are owned by North Central, so we're not using our own buses. The bus driver is employed by North Central, but the bus driver does follow rules, regulations of Foley Public Schools.
No, are they the ones that drive to Malacca also?
They do.
Malacca doesn't have their own bus.
They do not.
I know they have a service up there called Sue's Bus Service.
It's, they're related and it's the same contract, yeah.
Any other questions or discussion on this item? Hearing none, I would take a motion to approve this contract.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Stephanie Ruditsky. I need a second.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Nathan Anderson. All right, all in favor of approving this contract with North Central Transportation, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We're doing great, guys. All right. Our next item is the policies requiring review. This is just a discussion, and this is the second reading for public comment of the following policies. Policy 202, which is school board officers. Policy 207, public hearings. Policy 213, school board committees. Policy 423, employee-student relationships. And policy 519, interviews of students by outside agencies. Are there any comments, questions, etc. for this? Has policy met recently?
No, we have not. We were supposed to meet on October 28th or so, and due to a family emergency for me, we were not able to
Okay.
meet, and I think you've got something scheduled again.
Okay.
So if there are any suggestions or changes, there's still time.
All right. So get it in while it's hot. Are we ready to move on then? Hearing no other discussion, I will move on to our next item, which is the budget enrollment report. Ms. Nosta, take it away.
If you look at our enrollment for the month of October, we are very consistent with September. We've lost about a 0.15. And that was we lost a student in the intermediate school, it looks like, but otherwise enrollment since September, beginning of October has been steady, staying steady. That's always a good sign.
I have a question. This is probably more for our principals than anyone else, but I know these first few months, there's a lot of up and downs. People are kind of shopping around for where they want to be, but we've been fairly consistent. Any ideas why it's a little bit different this year?
I think the intermediate generally is consistent. We don't get a lot of the ins and outs and stuff. I just think, especially in our building with the increased enrollment that we have, it's a good thing to have, but it's causing some stress on the system. But it's good stress. We figure it out and make it work. We haven't had as much movement, and that's at this point in the school year will be pretty steady. For the rest of the school year. This is generally how the trend goes, but I really can't point to anything in particular why that is this year.
Just curious. If it's something we can repeat, we repeat it. If not,
Typically, the movement at the high school at this point is some kids going into round over AOC, or kids taking one more PSEO class or one less PSEO class. So the percentage changes in those situations. But otherwise, yeah, typically once we get through October, we're fairly well set until we get later in the spring when, unfortunately, once in a while you get a senior that realizes that graduation isn't going to be possible for them and they hang it up. Unfortunately, we do our best to rationalize with them and put a plan in place. Sometimes they still drop out.
Elementary, it's all about families moving in or moving out. I mean, this year we've been lucky to have it very stable and have very few moving out. And we've gotten lucky and had a few families move in the last month or two, so we hope it stays that way.
have we seen any change in our open enrollment areas, up or down or at all, or compared to other years? What's your just gut feeling?
No,
I think it's pretty the same.
Okay.
we benefit from it.
Very much so, yes. But I was curious about that. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Any other questions about the class size enrollment? All right, then I guess we'll move on to the budget update, please.
Not a whole lot going on. We're staying currently our expenditures are less than our revenue, which is always a great thing to see. It looks like we are staying, expenditures are a little higher last year than they were this year. So that's also good. We're still doing a good job maintaining our budget and making sure people are being held accountable and that we're ordering things that we need. And a lot of those big orders are done now for the year, so that's helpful. Other than that, things are looking good. And our audit will start on Monday. So it's been very busy in the district office. Everybody's working really hard and doing a great job. We've had lots of questions from the auditors, but I feel it's going very well. And other than that, yeah, things are going well for us right now.
It's been about a year since you've been with us, give or take, correct?
Yep.
What's your gut check on how things are compared to a year ago and how things are looking?
Well, I can tell you that we're still working on the audit in December, and I feel that our audit will be wrapped up this month for sure within the next couple of weeks. I can't say that for sure, but it's much cleaner and much easier to work with, and we all have a very good relationship in the district office, and I feel that plays a huge part in good communication and much better outlook going forward.
Well, I personally do appreciate what you've done for the past year, so I want to take this opportunity to say thank you. I don't know what the exact anniversary date is, but happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, discussion on this item? All right, we're going to move on then to administrator information and reports. We'll just we're going to go around this way today. Mr. Foss, anything to add from your report?
Well, I want to highlight, a couple weeks ago, we had the Leah banquet, and Michelle Gross was our staff member who was chosen. And next Wednesday, we have our ESS, Educational Support Staff, and it's Christy Brennan, the secretary in our counselor's office, who wears tons of hats. She'll be our recipient that night. The Halloween food drive, even the paper had an article on that yesterday. Students collected 2,300 pounds of food. The Cross Center was very appreciative, and we took that there the next week, so hopefully, again, it'll help a number of our local families. With Mr. English being gone, I just want to highlight a few things. The state swim meet is this week, and we have 2 individuals and 2 relays that have qualified for the state swim meet. And winter activities already kicking off. Junior I1 Act has been practicing for a while. Girls basketball started this week, and boys basketball and wrestling will start next week. So really not much downtime with high school. So always a busy building.
Thank you. Mr. Kluger, anything?
Just a couple updates from my board report. Conferences were held last week. Didn't have an exact percentage of participation for you at the time of the board report. We had 96% of our parents participate in conferences, so which is pretty typical. We hover 95 to 98%. That works out to be about 19 students, so pretty happy with that participation rate. We always have our fall and spring book fair during our conference sessions, and that is it's a big fundraiser for our media center. All of the proceeds go right back into the media center in terms of in form of books. So the deal with Scholastic is that 50% of the revenue, they take 50%, and we keep 50% for our book or for our media center. This year we raised a total of $8,200 for our book fair, so $4,100 comes right back to our media center. Jeannie Metzger, our media and sped secretary, takes care of that, runs that for us, and so she does a great job. So I think she keeps topping herself every book fair. The last 2 or 3 have been a little bit better than the one previous, and I think this is, last year we hit the $8,000 mark, and so now we're at $8,200, so ticking up a little bit each time, which is good. And then a shout out to Linda Corrigan, our FES Leah Award winner, and Sarah Daler, our ESS award winner from Foley Elementary School. They do great work, and so we're happy to have them at the elementary school.
Thank you. Mr. Bierman.
All right, I'd like to highlight our Leah Award winner, Amanda Wojciechowski, who teaches physical education here at Intermediate School. She does a fabulous job in the building. She's on a few different committees. She's on our PBS committee, does just wonderful work, and it was a great way to recognize all of her positive attributes here at school. And then next week, we get the opportunity to recognize Amber Nelson, who's a paraprofessional in our building. Again, another employee that does excellent work and goes above and beyond for the benefit of our students. And our conference attendance, it's a little bit different having the 5 grade levels, but our 4th grade had 96% conference attendance rate, 5th grade had 95%, 6th grade had 87%, 7th grade had 34%, and 8th grade had 36%, which I know those are lower numbers, but those are higher numbers than normal in the past. So that's encouraging to see. And then just like elementary, we had our book fair. You can see the remnants of that. Shawnee Thompson does a great job organizing, getting that ready, and we had plenty of traffic in and out both days of conferences.
By the way, before the man left Wojciechowski, right?
Yeah.
I went to the guy who was reading, and I had actually went several other people and said, how do you pronounce his name? Nobody had a clue. So I made sure he got Wojciechowski correct.
Well done, Ken. Thank you for that.
Ms. Stewart.
Just wrapping up some of our fall cleanup programs. One of the last kickoff was our junior 1X play, so that will have its show on Friday the 22nd. So Janelle has done a great job with those students. We are working on just kind of transitioning into winter programs, so kind of working towards building our swimming lessons and all our winter activities while trying to schedule all of our facilities within our activity departments, competition practices, getting guest tickets in there, all of our youth groups, boosters, and weekends, so working through all of the schedules throughout the whole winter on like weekends and whatnot. And then just trying to work through some staffing. We have a couple of staff that are on the medical leave, so kind of cross-training and trying to divide and conquer those duties and making things streamless for our families so they're not seeing those changes.
Thank you. Does not say anything to add tonight? Dr. Perry.
Just to update the board about our indoor air quality project, we had our first cadence meeting actually today. And Ms. Naska, Mr. Foss, Mr. Fleck were part of that meeting as well, along with the team from SiteLogic. And just to give the board just a few updates about the timing of the project, we're looking at right around Thanksgiving time to do some pre-purchase recommendations. And the reason why that we're looking at doing that is because of the amount of light time that it's going to take to get some of the materials. And they mentioned the chillers and some of the electrical parts that we need are about a 22 to 26 week lag time for us to receive those. And so we're looking at all construction documents actually being done in January, which is going to then look at some bids. And we're looking at selling our bonds in January, so money would be available in February. The project is complex, and what we discussed today is having small group meetings with board members to move through what the timeline of the project is, and then looking at some of these other requirements with the pre-bids, when the bids are going to come in, opening the bids, when the work will actually start. We will be on a very tight schedule. And one of the discussions that we had today is looking at priority sections in the building. And so looking at the dehumidification, we would like to have that done by the start of the school year, especially for places like the classrooms. And then we may be able to push September, October, in another area of the building that's not used as much. So those are things that we're going to continue to work through. We'll have weekly meetings with SiteLogic in the beginning, and then we'll move to bi-weekly meetings. So typically on Wednesdays, so look for probably additional information in my fall reports that will come to you on Fridays. On the Director of Child and Food Nutrition, we did interview for that position last week, and we had a really great interview team. Mr. Kluber was part of that. We also had our current director along with 5 different staff members that represented each of the kitchens. We have offered the position to a candidate, and that candidate has accepted. So candidate for approval and contract negotiations, we're looking at a person to officially start. In December, we met today with our Child and Food Nutrition Department, announced who that person is. It's Lori Wendowski, so we're really excited for Lori to continue on her leadership journey, and we believe that Lori will do a fantastic job, and again, highlighting the work that Cheryl has done as well, and the department as a whole. Ms. Noska talked about the audit, so that's been very busy. And then just another point is the website. Our website needs a bit of a facelift. And so thank you to Jesse Winkleman, who's really leading the team, looking at some different options for our website. One company that we're going to be meeting with, I believe it's next week already. If you look at Wyzeta's website, they've created Wyzeta's website, so a lot more feeds and a lot more, I think it's going to be a little bit easier to use too. So I'll continue to update, but we're looking at really this year of trying to do some more research and then launching something for next school year.
I'll say I appreciate that because I use our website frequently because of my kids, and it's not really mobile responsive on my phone. It is impossible to find a lot of things. The search features will so this is something that is desperately needed, so thank you. And thank you to Ms. Winkleman as well for spearheading that. I'm excited to see where we go. Anything else? No. All right, in that case, we'll move on to meeting events and notices. We have the MREA conference November 17th through the 19th. We have the regular school board meeting on 12/16 at 6 o'clock. We have our wonderful Truth and Taxation meeting on 12/16 as well, which will be included on the December board agenda. And then in January, the 16th and 17th will be the MSBA conference. And of course in there's all sorts of other events and plays and whatnot. Lots of great concerts in this season, so make sure you check out the school calendar. All right, we're going to move on to committee reports. Have any committees met that they would have any reports to give?
The Wellness Committee met, and we had a really great meeting. We talked about our goals, and one thing that the Wellness Committee is going to start to push out to our parents and community is our catering services. And so looking at healthy options, especially for birthday treats as an example. We also talked about doing in our parent newsletter just some monthly reminders about how to stay healthy and how to stay fit and how to make good wellness choices. And then we also talked about the Minnesota Student Survey. We have not administered that in the last time that you could. And that data is really, really important to help build curriculum and what the needs are of our students. And so we are researching that as well. Foley Area Foundation, we met this evening too, and we had met for quite some time, so it was nice just to regroup again. We talked about our past fundraiser, which was this summer. It was the pickleball tournament, and we don't have a final number of what we were able to bring in from that event, but we do believe that'll cover scholarships. So that's a positive, and we also have a holiday event that's fast approaching, and I believe our next meeting is in January.
All right, any other comments on the committee reports? If not, then we're gonna move on to board member comments. We'll start with Ms. Sharon Kipka, please.
Condolences to the family of Marge McLaughlin. Also condolences to our school community. Marge was an ordinary person who made an extraordinary difference. I would also like to thank Father Matthew for changing the time of the funeral so our food service department could attend. It was a good thing. Congratulations to the Leah winners, Amanda Wojciechowski, Michelle Gross, and Linda Corrigan. Thanks to Ken Anderson and Resource Training for providing this great opportunity to celebrate excellence. Last night was our first concert of the season. It was 5th and 6th grade general music, played to a full auditorium, and provided our wonderful rural community the opportunity to celebrate music and see our music program at work. I want to thank all of those who supported me in my re-election process, and congratulations Patrick, Alyssa, and Pam on their election, and I'm excited to get to work.
Nathan. Stephanie. Ken.
Yes, I want to congratulate everybody who ran for the school board. Also, we're talking about the audit coming up. I seem to be the one who gets the calls all the time as far as any corruption in the school district. My answer was always no. A couple of times I said, not that I'm aware of it. But I gave you a good report.
Thank you.
This is my second one this year. I thought I'd got another one coming up. I think Ben Stearns or the Resources already called me on that one. So, also, we have to be up there quick. I got to show you my favorite picture. A lot of pictures are taken. This is my favorite picture of the whole thing. This is a former student. Right? And you maybe don't know who it is, but her name was Jill Adelman. Now it's Jill Weiss, and her daughter was Amanda, not Amanda, Hannah Weiss, who taught school here. And she was an award winner from St. Cloud School District. But she was, I walked up to her, in fact, and I was going to introduce myself, and then I looked at, this is what she knows this person. And it was really a joy for me to be able to do that. I also had a chance to talk to Lori Putnam, who's a superintendent from St. Cloud School District, and I congratulated her on being selected superintendent of the year. And then I pointed out to her that our area in Minnesota is really probably in 10 or 20 years that I've been involved in this area, so forth. 6 of the people have been superintendents of the year. 2 from Sauk Rapids, Dan Henton from North Branch, Scott Saska from Torrey, Kay Warner from Sawtell. So we've had 6 out of, in a 20-year period, we've had 6 out of 9 districts superintendents of the year. So, plus, I mentioned to her, that not only do we have all these good superintendents, but the Commissioner of Education is a former superintendent from St. Cloud. The Executive Director of the Superintendent Association of Deb Henton is from our area. State High School League head is Eric Martins, who was a principal in Sauk Rapids before he did this. And the head of the MREA was Darren Strassel, and like earlier, Fred Nolan, both from Foley. So our area in Minnesota has produced an awful lot of good people doing statewide. Also, today I had a cooperative purchasing meeting. I'm on the board of directors of that, and I used to be the head of it, but we rotated. And we're doing very well, and I know you Foley's bought some things there. I think in the whole area of the state, plus we delved into North Dakota, South Dakota. In one area, I think they've done $1 billion worth of business. In another area, $100 million worth of business. Of course, we get a cut of that, but we also provide a service for the school districts and presumably get them a better deal on the products that they purchase. So, so that was very interesting, and it was very good to hear. Also, when I got on, I always got on about 15 minutes early, and Jeremy Kolak, I don't know if you know that name, Jeremy Kolak, one of the more influential people in the state of Minnesota in education. He's head of the Lake Service Cooperative. And I mentioned to him the fact that we were looking for a superintendent. He said, I got one for you. He's an experienced superintendent, he's been around for a while. He's in an area where I think he'd like to move up. His kids have all graduated from school and he's ready to make the move. I said, and he gave me his name. He's going to be at MSBA, and not MREA, and Jeremy's going to be there also. And I think it might be interesting because this is an experienced person who's very successful and is highly rated by Jeremy. And I think that he needs to save some money and service.
I always said that I think we should just have Ken do our search.
I have a couple parties on the line, but I think MREA is going to be very interesting place. Plus, I also learned, and I don't know if we did this right or not, this was all, there were like 10 of us that were voting on things, and, always do it, but we have to do a roll call, right? Well, they said we don't have to do that anymore. Apparently, that's just say, aye, everybody, aye. You only do a roll call if somebody says nay. So maybe we can avoid that in the future. And then also, on the 6th and 7th of December, I'm going to be down at the Delegate Assembly for MSBA, and they just sent me a book, and I guess I'll have another here that he gave to me yesterday. That's what it was. And I looked through some of the resolutions, and I have to go through them on video first before we go down to the actual meeting. But a couple interesting, I thought you might find interesting. Teacher retirement, they're thinking of trying to making sure, and by the way, these are only recommendations from MSBA. They still have to go through the legislature, so forth, so it doesn't mean they're going to happen. But they fund the Teacher Retirement Association, bring back the rule of 80, and allow 62 for retirement age. Another one is to allow schools to have 5 members on school. So we brought this, anybody can bring these things up to you. You have to talk about this. This is not coming from NSD, it's coming from the members. Okay. So it's right now it's to read, you can have 6 or 7 school board members. They want to be allowed so you can have 5 also. They have explanation in there, but I don't know. And then they're going to have a pilot project to link to the school year. That's another one. And last year when I was there, we were given the thing to allow to ban cell phones in schools, and got voted down. Well, somebody brought it back up again, even though the legislature passed the school cell phone. It's going to be brought up. I don't think it's going to pass, but so anyway, there's 28 resolutions we have to deal with, and then that's where I'll be spending time for me. So, okay? That's all.
Mr. Wilson?
Well, thank you.
All right. I just want to say congratulations to our band students who got to play at the Paramount the other night, St. Cloud Municipal Band. Besides myself being in that band, Ms. Darling from the middle school band, she's in the band. We have several alumni in there, and Tim Jarno, who was my band director here long ago, not that long ago, he is also in the band. So it was really neat. I got to sit next to a student from Foley whose mother I went to high school with, and who was friends with my son. And then a few seats away from us was Tim Jarno, and directly on my left was Carissa Darling. So even though it's the St. Cloud Municipal Band, Foley is kind of slowly taking it over. But it's an honor band situation where students have to be nominated to get into it. It was very awesome though. And that program will happen again most likely next fall. So if you know students who are like juniors and seniors next year and in their band, please do encourage them to apply for that. We do it right away in the fall because there's a lot of honor bands in the spring as well as a lot of other events for juniors and seniors. Andy Nelson, who is the band director over in Malacca, he is our director at the St. Cloud Municipal Band. So he kind of came up with this idea and has been piloting this program, really to spread out with all these different wonderful schools we have in our community. The other thing I do want to say is I am once again humbled, and I don't mean that, I mean that very sincerely. I am humbled by the people who voted for me to do another 4 years on this board. I always think, well, okay, I'm going to vote for me and maybe my wife, and we'll see what happens. And so I've always found it very humbling to have any people say, I would like this person to go and represent and do work on my behalf. And so I do want to say thank you and congratulations to everyone who has been elected or re-elected to the board. Sure.
I've spoken to the National Honor Society the last couple of years, and I mentioned about two of my grandkids who overcome some really difficult situations. I just got some news recently I want to share. I have one grandson who was born a crack baby, was adopted, had leukemia at age 4, went through all kinds of trials in life, and I was at a football game the other day. I showed it to Mr. Foss. I got a note from his mother that he was just selected all-state academic in the state of Wisconsin, the only one from Green Bay for football. So he's come a long way.
Awesome. All right. At this time, I would take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
And second by Sharon. We are adjourned. Thank you.